It's been years since I've done one of these, but it feels pretty good to do one of these again.
You know what they say? 2 credits are better than 1.
X Studios? I haven't seen you since that series we did together that didn't get finished and had to get deleted because of reasons.
Yeah, but what can I say? I love this series. You're not getting rid of me that easily. We're gonna keep doing this until we're 90.
So, what should we do this time?
The last time we did one of these, we did plan to do What Went Wrong with Power Rangers Ninja Steel. Well, more so, Gene Steel before it even began. Oops.
Big boy.
Okay, this is gonna be pretty freaking hard to do, since this season sucks. But if I had to choose a portion to keep, it would probably be the dynamic between Red Ranger Brody Romero and Gold Ranger Levi Weston, and the little storyline they had regarding the search for Brody's brother Aiden, and the reveal that Levi is Aiden. Other than that, I got nothing. Can't believe I'm saying this, but Ninja, with all its flaws, was 10 times better than whatever Saban was trying to do with this.
The Aiden, Levi, and Lionfire arcs, for lack of a better term, were the closest things Ninja Steel had to an ongoing story, with every other episode cramming preschool-level morals down your throat. Speaking of Levi, I'll keep Levi being a country singer because it makes sense with his ranger suit being cowboy-themed, and Power Rangers is really good at making original music, plus Levi's actor is a really good singer. I'm also keeping the romantic relationship between Calvin and Haley. I think this is the first time in Power Rangers history we had a genuine couple from the very beginning, and it didn't include the Red Ranger. They had some great moments together, and they were a very adorable couple. It's a real shame they couldn't have an on-screen kiss because, it's a kid's show, primarily aimed at boys, and young boys think girls have cooties. I'm keeping the 25th anniversary special, Dimensions in Danger. It was amazing. It's not as great as Forever Red, but it's miles better than Legendary Battle. Plus, I did the math. If we were still doing single-season adaptations, Ninja Steel would still be the 25th anniversary. Samurai for the 18th, Megaforce for the 19th, a Gokaiger adaptation for the 20th, not Super Megaforce, a Go Busters adaptation / Beast Morphers for the 21st, Dino Charge for the 22nd, an unnamed Tokuger adaptation for the 24th, and Ninja Steel for the 25th. My only complaint against it is that it was too short. It really should have been stretched out to 2 parts.
Actually, another thing I'd like to keep is the whole Blaze Zords arc, where the Rangers have to help those around them to unlock the new Zord stars. It shows them being humans and helping those around them. However, I'm gonna add a bit more to it in the rewrite portion of this video.
I'm also keeping most of the villains. Madame Odious is easily one of my favorite female villains. She was honestly very intimidating and should have been the main villain in my opinion. Cosmo Royale was easily the most entertaining thing about Ninja Steel, and his comedic antics were so much funnier than anything Victor and Monty did. Ripcon, General Tiamon, and Drax. I forgot they existed, but yeah, we can keep them. I'm also keeping Mick because who doesn't love Kelson Henderson?
In the train.
I know this is a small thing to complain about, but why were the Rangers high school students? With Dino Thunder, it made sense due to it being a legacy revamp of MMPR, with the Rangers being dinosaur-themed, and with Tommy passing down his Ranger knowledge to a new team of Rangers. I can't believe I'm saying this. The Rangers being high school students even made sense in Megaforce, with Megaforce having a ton of subtle callbacks to MMPR due to the 25th anniversary. Ninja Steel, making the Rangers high school students was kind of pointless. In fact, Ninja Steel does put more focus on the Rangers' regular lives than the action and fighting, which I wouldn't mind if their regular lives weren't so boring. It was always, I gotta study for my math test, or I gotta find a date to the dance. Like I haven't seen those plots in a dozen Nickelodeon and Disney Channel sitcoms. Plus, Levi quitting his music career to enroll in high school was kind of confusing to me. Was Levi even high school age? As I stated in a previous video, since the series has ninja in the title, I would make the Rangers train at a martial arts academy, like in Ninja Storm or Jungle Fury.
Ninja Steel is the only season where the Rangers being high school students didn't add anything to the overall plot. Like you said with Megaforce, it makes sense due to it being the 20th anniversary of Power Rangers. But with this, why? Let's not forget about our resident Bulk install rip-offs with Victor and Monty.
Victor and Monty. Besides unneeded comedic relief, what was the point of these characters? Yes, I know it's still a kid's show at the end of the day, so fart jokes, gross out humor, and whatever else should be expected. But Zordon in a tube did their comedic antics get so old so fast, and they weren't even funny. I have nothing against these two actors, as they did a decent job with the stuff they were given. It's just the characters that were unfunny and unnecessary. This isn't just a problem with Ninja Steel, as Beast Morphers and Dino Fury both have unneeded and unfunny comedic relief duos. I guess this also includes Spike from Samurai, but you don't need one or two characters specifically for comedy. There should be moments where any character could say or do something funny. Yes, I know it worked with Bulk and Skull, but just because something worked in the 90s doesn't mean it'll work 30 years later. Times change, and you gotta change with it. Oh! I forgot Redbot! If I had a nickel for every time I rewrote a Power Ranger series and completely forgot about the Mentor's robotic sidekick, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but where did it happen twice? Yeah, Redbot is a very worthless character. Despite having a focus episode about Redbot, the character didn't do anything to affect the plot of the series. Just get rid of Redbot, it won't make any difference.
For me, a problem I have actually has to do with Dimensions in Danger. I do agree with what you said about it should have been a 2-parter. But for me, another problem I have is the idea of the Master Morpher. Look, I get it. It's Tommy. He has 5 different Ranger forms. But in this team up, we also had Rocky, Cat, and TJ. All 3 of them having multiple Ranger forms. Give them each a Master Morpher, and before any of you both say both Tommy and TJ were both the Red Turbo Ranger, Tommy never morphed into Red Turbo. So they could have had TJ use the Red Turbo Power Coin, and if Tommy needs to shift into Turbo, TJ can morph into the Blue Space Ranger. I'm also kind of surprised Gia never used her Legendary Morpher into Super Mega Mode. But that's just a minor nitpick.
This is another small thing to complain about, but it genuinely bothered me. Why couldn't the swords be the morphers? I have nothing against the Ninja Battle Morpher, and it would probably encourage kids to play with real martial arts weapons and injure themselves, causing concerned soccer moms to complain about violence or whatever. But if Dino Charge can have a gun as a morpher, Ninja Steel can have a sword morpher. Plus, plenty of Sentai heroes and even some Kamen Riders have used weapons as transformation devices. As for Levi, while I am so relieved they changed the Burger Morpher to something original, but I'm kind of surprised Levi's Morpher wasn't the guitar. That would have made a little bit more sense given the fact that he is a musician. I also won't be including the Poncho power-up or whatever it was called. It looked silly in Ninja, and it still looks silly in Power Rangers. As for their Zords, I know this is not Ninja Steel's fault, as Ninja Zords have no consistent theming, but since Ninja Steel is the 25th anniversary, I would personally make all the Zords made from parts of Zords from other seasons, or Zords that were left out of previous seasons. I'll expand more on that later. Remember what I said before about the villains? Did you know that I didn't mention Galvanax? You know, the main villain. Galvanax was not a great villain, which is a massive letdown considering he's supposed to be the main villain of the entire series. As Orange Ranger Video said in one of his videos, there's a major difference between looking scary and being scary. We're told Galvanax is one of the most evil villains in the universe, but he doesn't do anything memorably evil in my opinion. Galvanax was just a generic main villain. There was nothing special about him at all. He just wants to take over the world like all the other sickos.
I honestly forgot Galvanax was a threat since he was destroyed in the final episode of Ninja Steel and Madame Odious took his place during Super Ninja Steel. Honestly, all of the villains are pretty forgettable. I can't believe they made a great character like Gabi Rizzo, someone who, despite being evil, had a sense of honor. They turned him into an annoying character like Ripcon! Both characters had a rivalry with the Red Ranger of their team, but Gabi Rizzo thanked Takaharu for defeating him, while Ripcon continued to call Brody rat bait. Oh, speaking of the Rangers, they're all bland. The only good character is Mick, and that's only because he's played by Kelsey Henderson, who always gives every Power Ranger role he gets everything he has. There's also the fact that with Dane, he has the same problem as Galvanax. He was apparently a great ninja, but we never got to see it. There's a little phrase in media called show, don't tell. Outside of flashbacks, this guy only appeared in 4 episodes in between Ninja Steel and Super Ninja Steel.
This is something Movie Critic brought up when Ninja Steel was airing, and I 100% agree with it. Why did they change the Kaku Ranger and Hurricane stars? Yes, I know the Alien Rangers weren't ninjas, but this isn't like Super Megaforce showing new powers teams. The Kaku Ranger suits were adapted into Power Rangers. A 10-episode miniseries, but still Power Rangers. The Alien Rangers and Ninja Storm teams are official Power Rangers. It's a missed opportunity to not show the shurikens that have them, which would have established continuity.
There's also that weird time they adapted the 34th episode of Ninja that paid tribute and had the appearance of the World Ninja Jiraiya and turned him into... what was his name again? Sheriff Skyfire? Okay, I'm trying really hard not to be mean, but aren't Rangers legendary in the universe? This guy got tricked by Madame Odious into thinking they're the villains. How foolish is this guy?
Not to mention, the episode he was in was a very pointless filler episode. Don't get me wrong, it was pretty cool to see a Metal Heroes character in Power Rangers, but the episode Jiraiya was in didn't need to be adapted. Captain Chaku and Beast Morphers. That is how you adapt a Metal Heroes character into Power Rangers. I don't know if this is a fair comparison, considering Captain Chaku got 2 episodes while Sheriff Skyfire only got 1. With Captain Chaku, it genuinely felt like a universe expansion as we got to know Captain Chaku as a character by getting to know the character's lore and backstory, so I got excited when he teamed up with the Beast Morphers team. And I honestly want to see a Captain Chaku series now. Hasbro, or whoever owns Power Rangers now, get on it! Sheriff Skyfire, on the other hand, he shows up, he says some stuff, and he goes home. Alright, let's address the elephant in the room. What was with all the preschool level morals in every episode? I don't know if it was required by Nickelodeon or whatever it was. We're fixing Ninja Steel as a series, not individual episodes, but this is something that needs to be addressed. I know it's important to teach kids important life lessons, but the morals in Ninja Steel were something you'd see in a baby show like Barney. If you're going to teach kids morals in every episode, at least make an effort to tie it into the plot of the episode so it doesn't take time away from the action and fighting. I know Beast Morphers and Dino Fury had morals too, but the morals were so well tied into the plot of the episode that I barely noticed, and the morals in the Hasbro era definitely didn't treat the audience like babies. In Ninja Steel, I always dreaded every time Mick had to deliver the moral of the episode. Mick talked to the Rangers like a preschool teacher. Plus, the morals are very standard and generic that I've heard in 1,000 preschool shows. Don't lie to people, or always rely on your friends. I know Power Rangers is a kid's show and naturally has a very young audience, but not that young. Am I gonna have to stretch this rewritten plot into 5 videos all over 10 minutes long?
Please, no.
Good! Last time I did that, it was exhausting. But just like my Super Megaforce rewrite, we're going to pretend Ninja Steel is a 40-episode long single-season adaptation.
But honestly, we'll be working double time when it comes to the rewrites. Even more so now than any other moment in this series. The main focus of the rewrites will be to connect Ninja Steel to past seasons of Power Rangers that are set in this continuity. The only seasons that it won't be connected to are RPM and Dino Charge outside of Dimensions of Danger, obviously.
As I stated before, since Ninja Steel being the 25th anniversary, and with the Zords having no consistent theming, we're going to make each Zord a reference to a previous season. The Robo Red Zord will be an extra Zord made by the Aquatar Rangers. The Blue Dragon will be a Zord that was created using magic from the Mystic Force Rangers. The Nitro Zord will be built using leftover parts from the Dump Driver from Operation Overdrive. The Kodiak Zord will be an extra Wild Zord from Wild Force. The Zoom Zord will be a leftover train from the unnamed Tokuger adaptation. The Bull Rider Zord will be another Zord made by Dr. K. I know that's a bit of a stretch, but the Bull Rider Zord is a combination of an animal and a vehicle, so it fits with RPM. The Rumble Tusk Zord will be a miniature Spirit Zord from Jungle Fury, being spiritually, no pun intended, connected to the Green Elephant Spirit Zord. The Astro Zord will be a Zord made by the Space Rangers. The Sub Surfer Zord will be made by the Lightspeed Rescue Rangers. Because of the Aqua base? Yeah, I know, that's a stretch. The Lion Fire Zord. I already used up Wild Force and Jungle Fury, so we could go with either Lost Galaxy because that's also a season with a red lion, or Samurai because of the martial arts theme. The Blaze Zords, and by extension the Blaze Megazord, will stay mostly the same, considering they have a consistent theming with them all being animals. Oh, yeah, and the T-Rex. Even though it wasn't included in Ninja Steel, it could be a leftover Zord from either Dino Thunder or Dino Charge, take your pick.
Honestly, I go with Dino Thunder. Mainly because the helmet for Shurikenjin Dino resembles Dino Thunder Red's helmet with the jagged teeth like marks. On my side of the rewrites, change the high school setting to the Wind Ninja Academy from Ninja Storm. This way, it still sticks with the idea that Ninja Steel takes place in the main continuity.
As I stated before, the morphers will be the swords, and Levi's morpher will be the guitar. Since we're keeping Mick, I would make Mick a previous student that flunked out of the academy as a teenager and currently works as a janitor and mechanic for the academy. As for the villains and the monsters of the week, instead of aliens, let's make them demons from the underworld. Or the Shadow Realm, or the Nether Dimension, whatever you want to call it. And just like in Jungle Fury, they were reawakened by a bully character that's jealous that he isn't as good as the Rangers. In case you haven't watched Ninja, the Blue Ranger was a wizard that learned magic at Super Sentai Hogwarts. Yes, I know it was called something else, but I'm calling it Super Sentai Hogwarts because that's basically what it was. One of his mentors was Maji Yellow. I'm surprised Ninja Steel didn't adapt that. I would make Preston someone from Briarwood that looked up to the Mystic Force Rangers and saw Chip as a mentor figure. I guess we can do something similar with Brody idolizing the Ninja Storm team. I would make Levi enroll in the Ninja Academy because he wanted to follow in his father's footsteps, but he dropped out in order to become a country singer. But he took the gold ninja star just in case he wanted to come back. Sarah would still be the smart one of the group, but not too smart. Getting an A+ on a math test makes sense, but realistic holographic clones of herself is something you'd see in Star Trek, not Power Rangers. That being said, I would still make her a little tech-savvy, as she invents technological stuff for the Wind Ninja Academy, as well as most of the weapons and gadgets that the Rangers use. Calvin will still be the mechanic of the team. After doing research on the Turbo and Operation Overdrive Rangers, Calvin builds all of the different toys for vehicles for the team that can be used in original footage. Lastly, Haley will be the wildlife expert of the group that gained an interest in animals after doing some research on the Wild Force and Jungle Fury teams.
Make the characters of Dane and Galvin as actual freaking characters. With Dane, have Brody and Levi mention him more like the different ninja techniques were taught to them by Dane. Have him escape from the Ninja Nexus prison halfway through and help teach the other Rangers different techniques. As for Galvanax, show how much of a threat he is. It's not that hard to do with Power Rangers. I would have there be a flashback to the different atrocities he's done. Oh yeah, there's also Starfire. Change him entirely. Make him a legendary ninja that trained Dane when he was trained to be a ninja, who comes out of retirement to test the Rangers on their ninja skills. And not have him be a complete idiot that is tricked by the villains.
With Victor and Monty, we can do one of two things. Option 1, get rid of them entirely because they were unneeded comedic relief. Or option 2, since we're changing the setting to the Win Ninja Academy, we can make them ninjas in training that are close to flunking out of the academy, and their comedic antics include them trying out new ninja techniques that end up backfiring miserably.
Oh yeah, remember how I said I'd add a bit more to the Blaze Zord arc? Well, here it is! Instead of the Zords being the only thing out of commission, have their actual ninja stars be damaged and need to be repaired, leaving the Rangers to question if they can continue fighting without their powers, before realizing it's not about the Morphers, the weapons, or the Zords that made them Rangers, but their fighting spirit to keep people safe.
As for the Lion Fire stuff, in our rewrite, the villains are not aliens, so unfortunately that means no Princess Vera and no Lion Galaxy, which I'm personally okay with. I would make it similar to the Bull Zord from Samurai, an ancient Zord that was sealed away for thousands of years. The villains track it down to reawaken it and use it as an opportunity to defeat the Rangers. The Rangers fight off the monsters while Madame Odious attempts to cast a spell on the Lion Fire Zord to turn it evil, but Mick creates a throwing star to reawaken the Lion Fire Zord to have it fight with the Rangers. Mick also created a throwing star harnessing the Lion Fire Zord's power to create the Lion Fire armor for Brody.
Then there's Dimensions in Danger. Have it be a multi-part team-up similar to what Beast Morphers did with Grid Connection, and bring in more Rangers. If you want to have Tommy be in it, I'd say have him only be Mighty Morpher Green or White. Have Rocky be Blue Zeo. Basically, try to have one Ranger from each season to show that this is the 25th anniversary. I choose Damon, Ryan, Taylor, Shane, R.I.P. Pua Majasiva, Sky, Chip, Rose, and RJ.
Lastly, the season finale will have the villains attacking the Win Ninja Academy, deactivating all of the Rangers' weapons and Zords, and kidnapping Victor and Monty to turn them into monsters. Victor and Monty then use ninja techniques that end up working that outsmart the villains, and they escape to warn the Rangers. Galvanex, I was going to say kill, but then I remembered this is a kid's show, so Galvanex sends Dane to the Shadow Realm or whatever, which inspires Brody to get revenge on Galvanex. Also, since the Rangers lost their powers, it will be requiring mostly unmorphed fights with the Rangers using sword fighting and ninja techniques to fight the foot soldiers. Mick will also get his chance to shine by fighting off some foot soldiers and rescuing civilians. Blah blah blah, the Ninja Nexus prison gives the Rangers their powers back because magical nonsense. Blah blah blah, the Rangers defeat Galvanex. Blah blah blah, you know the drill.
And with that is our rewrite for Power Rangers Ninja Steel. This season is extremely flawed despite the potential it held, with it being the 25th anniversary. Which the same can sadly be said about most of the anniversary seasons. While Wild Force was a good season, it, along with Operation Overdrive, Megaforce, and later on Cosmic Fury, failed for different reasons. Ninja Steel is sadly no different than the rest of them.
This was fun to do, and I love doing collabs with you.
I always have fun doing these kinds of videos. It lets me work with friends and stretch some muscles when it comes to writing. It's a 2-for-1 deal!
Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, as always, until next time, see ya.